Dr. Atanasova is CEO of Pixel Hunters, a Dubai-based company that develops VR, AR, MR content and knowledge based on applications for the governmental and private sectors locally and internationally. Strong background in learning and gamification. So hello, and really nice
Hi.
to be here.
Hi, nice to meet you, and thank you very much for inviting us to this forum. And I'm happy to talk to you today about gamification and how to achieve KPIs and results faster and on a very efficient way.
To be honest, your topic is really interesting to me. So, how can fun learning be serious business? How can we have such a serious business based on fun learning? It's really interesting.
Yeah, I will pass you through the presentation, and I will also share with you all the lessons learned that the latest situation with COVID-19 taught us. It was a very interesting shift, but I assume it's a shift for everyone. But again, we decided to turn the problems into opportunities.
Right.
And I will let you through the presentation to tell you more
Sure.
about it.
Sure, thank you.
Okay, gamification in business and in school. Okay, there's a lot of animations in my presentations, but this platform cannot run them, so I hope it will be more clear when I explain it. So before the COVID-19, the e-learning platforms we've seen the past years that have been growing a lot. But what we have seen for the last year in particular is that more learning management system appear, less users actually there for a learning management system. There was a saturation of users, and at the end, a lot of companies and organizations accepted that the online e-learning platforms become less effective because the people don't feel motivated to study alone, and at the end of the day, it takes them much more time rather than in a classroom room. So for the past year, we have seen a huge shift. Actually, from the last 2 years at least, we have seen a huge twist from the online learning. A lot of people started at governmental organizations, and here they started to return back to real workshops and trainings, and they started using gamification and game-based approaches for training because it takes less time for all the learners and it's much more fun. So the question is, when everything starts to become digital during the COVID-19, everything is digital now. So the question for the future is, if everything is digital, how to make the people having more fun and to enjoy what they do well when they're online? What we've seen with the work transformation is that before the COVID, most of the people were working in the office, and the traditional employer were thinking the efficiency is higher because the people are in the office. And with the COVID-19, a lot of people started to work from home office. And what also a lot of people notice is that if the work is related with a lot of people coordination and synchronization, it's much more time consuming for the people and for the business, and at the end the overall efficiency is much lower. And what the people actually realized, that they weren't prepared for such fast digitalization and such fast transformation. And what happened is that you need to learn many new things very fast so you can save time and go back to the efficiency curve again. And we should not forget that we must have fun whatever we do. So as a conclusion, what we can say, so the business wants fast training because there are many new things that businesses need to convey to its employees. The employees want to fast learn because they have KPIs that they need to achieve, and they have to achieve them faster. And business wants efficiency. And with the factor of fun, what we are thinking about, we are thinking about games. Actually, the games are proven to be very effective, especially in learning and motivation, because when we play video games, our brain actually produces dopamine, and the dopamine is responsible for our attention, memory, understanding of rewards, happiness, and many other things. So what is a game? Very few people call game everything, but actually game has a very strict definition. So the game is, we have some goals, and we have some rules, and we are rushing to do those rules to accomplish our goal. So isn't it very powerful? Because where in life we have rules and we follow those rules absolutely voluntarily. So it's very, very unique things with unique powers that, if used smartly, can be used very efficiencies for business, for schools and organizations. So if we understand the psychology and motivation behind the games, this is a very powerful tool. But it has a big know-how behind, because just putting some score and leaderboard doesn't make a project a game, or it's not necessary that if you put some scoring system, it will drive interest. So you need to understand the motivation and psychology behind the games. And also, if we talk about schools, all kids are growing up with games nowadays. My daughter, who's 10 years old, she started playing games since she was 2 years old. So she's our tester nowadays. And there is a misperception that the games are only for schools, because according to the latest statistics, 36 years old is the average game players, and there is a very big community of players that are about 50 years old. So this perception that it's only for kids, it's not true. So we live in Dubai, our company is in Dubai, and Dubai is famous with innovation. So everything that involves new technologies, new crazy things, new innovations that no one else have done before, this is what is Dubai about. And our company is here 11 years on the market, and we had the opportunity to create really interesting game-based and gamified solutions for governments. So what is a gamification? The gamification doesn't mean that it looks like a game. The gamification means that we use game dynamics and mechanics, and we put them towards serious topics to make them more interesting. And just some numbers, so the gamification market in 2026 will be about $21 billion US. So the lessons learned about the COVID was that every company has constantly policies change, procedure change, training materials, or any kind of trainings that is related with the new specific of work, and they want to convey this fast to the employees. So it's all about time and efficiency. At the same time, when we work from home, something that is very difficult to manage is the social factor. So the people get crazy for not being able to socialize. And of course, if we have to learn, it's better that we do it on a fun way. And what we realize that competition in a multiplayer setting is a key factor for success for such applications. So what we have done, I will switch to videos right now.
Want to boost your team training and combine it with some team building? Traditional training gets boring and creates ineffective outcomes. With multiplayer team training, make learning fun and effective with multiplayer games. Plug your content into our platform and empower training goals with gamified learning sessions. Choose our games or request custom games using different packages. Use real-time reporting to keep track of progress and accelerate your training goals. Ready, set, train with multiplayer team training. Order your solution now.
Yeah, here is the presentation. You know, the mother of two is speaking now because I have two small kids, and kids and games and what is happening with their imagination. Why not playing real games, like we're talking real games outside, fresh air, things like that. So I really want them to learn through and to be fun, not this usual process like read, do this, do that, but through games. How do you fight with this perception that video games are actually maybe not so good for kids, for small kids?
Actually, you cannot change this one, that the kids will play video games, because we as parents, we inserted the tablets into the kids' hands, so we can keep them quiet, so they can eat and etc. So we cannot change this one, but we can change what content the kids are playing actually. So what our platforms, actually, we are currently experimenting with 15 schools in all over the world. So we plugged into our platform, and in particular into Ludo game, in a multiplayer settings, we put content for 4th grade for Bulgarian language.
Yeah.
And this platform right now in all over 15 schools worldwide, we can see that the kids alone, they are playing, and I see reports on the system by 11 o'clock at night. So our system,
11 o'clock at night, they're playing 11 o'clock.
They're playing Bulgarian language question about adverbs, about nouns, about sentences, and etc. So the games, what the kids like nowadays, because the kids are much more social than us. So the kids, and not only the kids, even the grown-up, we like if we are put into something, if we are put in a game, first the multiplayer is much more interesting. Second, because it gives more social factor, you can communicate. And what we have seen is 100% working on this market and on the schools market. What we have seen, if there is a competition in the learning, there is the so-called collaborative learning is helping to achieve learning goals much faster.
Yeah.
So they are learning. So in our system, and I have proven this one because we track the gameplay by teams, by individual performance, and we track the individual learner's performance. So we have proven that in 1 hour, a kid can learn about 50 to 60 questions that they didn't know before. And we have implemented a lot of tactics inside, to repetition, to remember more, because when you repeat, it passes many times in your brain, so you learn more. The competition dynamics in the games are very powerful. So I still cannot believe that we have kids that are playing every single day, couple of gameplays per day. That means that they are passing about 150 questions in Bulgarian language in a day. Tell me, if I give them a quiz of 150 questions, will they? Doesn't matter if it's just a quiz, it's not interesting for them. And
but if it's a game, you mean?
If it's a game. When it's a game, you're actually following game rules, and what we have done quite a lot of case studies already. So we use games, and those games mechanics drive you towards the game, but actually we are assessing your knowledge.
Yeah. How many schools in Bulgaria have this
So in Bulgaria, there are like 7 or 8 schools, and there's a couple of Bulgarian schools abroad. So we piloted this project, and so far it's very successful. We have successful. The idea actually started before that. So we made the solution for classrooms and for events. Because most of people and corporations here, instead of putting people online, they wanted to have kind of events where the people have more fun through games. And for a couple of years, we do cybersecurity trainings for governments here and for some of the largest investment company here. And every year through games, we assess and we do awareness programs on cybersecurity for their employees. And before our approach on gaming, the people didn't want to play at all. They didn't want to participate in such programs. With the gamings, what it happened that the time for events was finished and everybody was keep playing. So this proves the performance of game-based approach towards assessment and training. With the COVID-19, we've seen that the real classrooms and events, it's something that's going to be blocked for a long time. So we transferred our platform on a completely different type of use, purely virtually, but in the essence of everything is a multiplayer, and we can plug any content very, very fast. It needs 1 minute to learn the gameplay, and the game logics are proven, so the people will get engaged, and we measure the entire process of learning. One of our programs, of course, is it was a very interesting lecture on cybersecurity. So we put a very non-standard approach for cybersecurity training. So we gave personality to viruses so that people can memorize what they do and how to protect them on a very fun and on a multiplayer regime. And we have the same campaigns and the same learning through traditional icons of cybersecurity and etc. But we have proven that giving personality to viruses makes them more recognizable and the success factor through the games is much higher. So we have done a lot of implementations of games, and in particular in cybersecurity into many different companies. And we've seen that there is a 66% of replay rates of corporates. And there are more than 35% who played more than 10 times. And a lot of, if it's used for events, it's there is a significant increase of the lead capture generation, and the engagement as a traffic building is super high. So this is the Ludo race. It's right now we gave it free for all Bulgarian schools, and we have a couple of teachers that are contributing to the content. Today or tomorrow we are releasing in a knowledge bingo game. We are releasing the human and the society topic. And it was fun while we were testing, because our company is known as the Bulgarian Animation and Game Design Company in Dubai. So when we were testing yesterday all the content for the human and society, we are 35 plus years old, and we realized that a lot of things we still don't know.
Oh, so yes, for sure. There are a lot of things we all still don't know, but that's a great thing in learning. And that's the great thing for life, actually. We learn all the time.
We learn all the time. So the gaming is not for kids. And I will very fast pass you through some very innovative solutions that we are very proud that we were the first in the world to implement such very fast, to showcase that AR, VR, and gaming is not for kids, it's for corporates, because all the projects you're gonna see there are for actually governments here and very large corporates. We'll go very fast through this to showcase where the technology actually can help the learning and the implementation of learning stuff. We have created a VR career guidance platform for the Telecommunication Regulatory Authority, which is now under the Ministry of Education. So we make psychometric tests in VR, which suggest professions that are in demand, not all professions, only the one that the kids will have future. They can experiment in VR way the daily life of such professions. They can see famous people in these professions, so to compare the virtual with the real. And we give them a full roadmap of development, where they can study, where they can work. So it's an eye-opener for students, anyone who is above 13, but actually for anyone is working, the psychometric test is working. But it's right now it's in implementation in all the governmental schools in the UAE. But also it's very helpful for parents, because a lot of kids take decision from the parents what to become. But the new professions are very novel for the parents. So the parents advise kids to go into very well-known professions, and people may stay jobless in those professions until, for example, nuclear physicists, they have a great future. But if you don't have a friend nuclear physicist, you will never get the idea to become such. So we have simulated Emirates Mars mission and how to assemble satellites. We have simulated architecture profession. Another thing which is very novel is we used some of the capacities of the VR systems to create virtual reality. First, we prove that we are the first one in the world, which is a VR platform for real-time hazard perception testing and training. There is a video-based hazard perception that we did, and it's integrated right now in the Dubai curriculum many years ago. But we're the first one to create a real-time hazard perception. So you're driving, you think it's like a game, but at the end there is a report, and we assess you what are your hazard perception, because hazard is a cognitive skill. So we have done.
Anna, if you allow me, I hope that really soon everything is going to be really back to normal, because now it's 1.5 hours, and it would be lovely if you can bring some of your technologies and we can meet in person and you can show us and we can test and try all the things you have developed. Thank you so much for being with us and sharing with us all the great things you're doing back there. And hopefully, and thank you very much for providing the Bulgarian schools free of charge with these interesting and valuable platforms.